Try to do a little better tonight, but so you are aware that I had a best friend, still have a best friend living at the end of my street. When he was diagnosed, the doctors used to say, you know, congratulations, you've got 2 to 5 years left to live. There's been some improvement. By the time I was diagnosed, they said, congratulations, you've got 3 to 5 years to live. So, small strides, but actually some big strides being done in research. And just wanted to talk a little bit to you about people questioning me. Treg, you always have a smile on your face. You're in a good mood. You've been diagnosed with ALS. What do you attribute that to? And just 2 things. And I think there are lessons for all of us in the room. The first is faith. And faith is a very personal thing. And if you ever want to know more about it, please feel free to ask me. But I would say that the guy I believed in made it just abundantly clear to me when I was set upon this journey that I was prepared to take the journey. He seems to pick some pretty tough guys in Barrie. He must have thought I was up to the challenge. So far, so good. I'm not to the tough stretch yet, so I take every day as a blessing. And the second thing, you've got your faith, you need perspective. And I also have perspective in abundance. I think a lot of that is how you were raised. I was blessed to be raised by a guy that grew up on a small farming community in central Indiana who knew how to work with his hands and built himself up into quite a real estate developer and ended up building the tallest building in San Diego back in the late 80s, and I've always been very proud of him. But back to perspective for a minute. I mean, there's any number of things. Having Barrie down the street, by the time I was diagnosed, Barrie had been a quadriplegic for several years, so I didn't have to look very far to find it. After I walked out of KU Med with my diagnosis, the first thing I did was go to call my mom and dad, try my dad's cell phone. He wasn't able to answer. My mom picked up, and she said he couldn't come to the phone. So I had the, and not the privilege, but the task of giving my mother the news. Mom, I've been diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease. She kind of thought it was coming. Dad couldn't come to the phone. She later told me why. He had just been admitted to the hospital in Phoenix for a quadruple bypass surgery. So, talk about bad days. I have a bad day. I just think my mother and how she persevered and the mental fortitude to make it through something like that just amazed me. Maybe on a lesser scale, but to about every American male who's golfed in the last 20 years, we were living and dying with Tom Watson's every shot in the 2009 British Open. Tom comes away with a bogey on the 72nd hole to go into a playoff with Stuart Sink and walks into the scorer's room and has the famous line with all the glum faces in the room, guys, this ain't exactly a funeral. And that's perspective. And, you know, Tom had won. I think he probably would acknowledge that with his trophy collection, you know, perspective is letting a guy, well, Stuart Sink earned it, and by all accounts, one of the great guys on tour, and really made his career. So, just perspective, faith and perspective. I mean, we're not going to win this war tomorrow, but we're going to keep chipping away. The Cockrell family had the great pleasure of meeting you guys today. Enjoyed watching you hit the ball. Tom and George, who I made their fingers cramp up like mine by signing so many autographs. They did so willingly. But to all of you guys that would show up year after year in support of Joe and the ALS Association, Keep Worthington chapter, we're also thankful. So on behalf of the 30,000 of us who are stricken with it, you know, and the 299,999 that I have it better than them. Let's keep the fight going, and I'll keep walking and talking as long as I can. Thank you very much.
Inspiration. Keith Worthington inspired a friend 30 years ago.